He's back properly this time. I think I'm back properly this time. Had a couple of challenges last week. That's one of the things about taking a bit of time off. Other strange thing that's happened is that suddenly, I'm not quite sure why, but you see this? Don't know why that's appeared suddenly. Don't know how to switch it off, but I'll work it out for next week. Are we ready to get started? I've got a great story to tell, something to share that will hopefully lift your hearts with Magic Monday Live. It's Magic Monday Live. It is Monday, the 8th of September, 2025. And something quite remarkable happened on Saturday. So on Saturday, I had the opportunity, the honor really, of being able to visit a beautiful part of the world called Hexham. It's where I live. Of course it is. It's where I live. But it was Hexham Racecourse that I went to. And the reason I went to Hexham Racecourse was for a very special opportunity to remember somebody. So it was a celebration of life for a great old friend of mine called Stan Hayhurst. So Stan is somebody who I have known since 1981. His daughter Justine is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. And one of the greatest things about Stan is that he was able to leave a legacy that very few people could. So let me tell you a little bit about Stan. I've made some notes because I didn't want to miss any of these things out because I think they're really important. So let me tell you about Stan. So the first thing is Stan won the Cheltenham Gold Cup. In 1958, he won the Cheltenham Gold Cup on a horse called Kirsten. And until his passing a few weeks ago, he was the oldest living jockey to have won the Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's quite a thing, win the Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's like probably Grand National, Cheltenham Gold Cup. Some people flip those around a little bit, but it's that sort of level. And to have done that and to be a jockey from the north, because in those days the north and south was quite divided when it came to National Hunt horse racing. And it was always that lot up in the north. Oh, we don't like them down here. We don't want them down here. And Stan went down with a mare, so female horse. I've discovered that. One of only 4 mares ever to win the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And he went down and he won, which was incredible. Absolutely amazing. He had 301 winners in his career. He also won the 1959 Hennessy Gold Cup, the Scottish Champion Hurdle, and many, many other things. And also, there's a famous what's it called, Grand National, where loads and loads of horses all kind of crashed. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it was like one of those things where all these horses crashed. There was a pile-up, and pretty much every single one of them managed to fall off, all the riders, other than one that came from the back, and they went through and won. But all these horses are like, nobody can get near their horse. People were getting on the wrong horses. There was all sorts of stuff, and Stan was right near the front when that happened. And he used to tell the story about how when they went over and then this big pile-up happened, he realized there was around about 35 horses behind him. And his first thought was, get out of the way. Which is very, very sensible. Get out of the way. Because he'd suffered many broken bones, multiple broken bones, actually, and injuries. Do you know they used to wear cork hats? So a hat made out of cork was all you had to protect you whilst riding in those races. Absolutely crazy. But here's the thing about Stan. The thing that I remember the most was that he had great humility. So if I'd won the Cheltenham Gold Cup, I'd be telling everybody. Stan used to talk about other things first. Other than when you watched horse racing with him. He was one of these people who had this incredible encyclopedic knowledge of horse racing. So you would, I remember once, quick quick little aside. I remember the year, it would have been 1981 when I first got to know Stan, and I watched the Grand National at his house, and they had a room full of people. And Stan said, "Now, Michael, I know you like to talk. I know you like to blab on about stuff." We had a bit of a relationship like that. Stan would say it how it was. He used to criticize my fashion sense. Can you believe it? I was 13. I was high fashion. Anyway, he said, when we watch the Grand National, we all shut up. Nobody says a word. We just watch the race. Do you understand? I was like, yeah, I've got it. Anyway, a couple of minutes, they're all lining up. He goes, "Michael, remember, not a word. We just watch the race." And then it went, "And they're off." And Stan jumped out of his seat, and he got in the middle of the room, and he was in riding position. He's going, "This is the worst bit. This is the worst bit. You're going on the grits in your face. The grits in your face. You're going over the road. You're going over the road. And they go over the first one." And then I was in shock watching this going on. And then the first horse fell going over the first fence, and Stan went, "Oh, and that was Lucky Lad," or whoever it was. And about 20 seconds later, the commentator would go, "And that was Lucky Lad had just fallen there at the first." He knew, watching his own little telly, he could see exactly which horse had gone. It was absolutely extraordinary how he would do that. And then the other thing that he was that he was very good at was being fair, and he became the first ever professional steward. So a steward at a race course. He was the first ever professional, so somebody who had ridden in the races, which sounds crazy that should take so long. But yeah, he did that. He also used to remember the old Catherine Cookson films that they were set in the Northeast, usually kind of period dramas, and they would often have people riding out. And Stan was the body double riding out for the men. So if you kind of see this thing where they go trotting off across the field and all that type of stuff, and Stan's family knew it was Stan on a horse right from the back, which was brilliant. What else have I got about Stan? Yes, some people knew him as the horse whisperer. He had this amazing ability. If a horse was being a bit feisty or whatever, he would just take a hold of it and just go, and it would just, oh. But also he was a human whisperer. He would always have kind words to say about people. Isn't that lovely? And when we went on Saturday to the celebration of life, it was quite extraordinary because everybody had something wonderful to say. Now, that's expected, isn't it, a celebration of life? But the variation of stories about so many different parts of his life was incredible. But here's the thing that really got me. The people from Cheltenham brought the Gold Cup. Yeah, the actual Cheltenham Gold Cup was there in honour of Stan. And I've had my picture taken with it. I'll do a little post. I'll do it in the comments after this has gone and been posted. And I said to the guy from Cheltenham, I said, "Oh, that's amazing." I said, "Can I get my photograph taken?" He said, "Of course, yeah, go and stand next to it." And I said, "Can I pick it up?" And he went, "No." Only people who have won the Gold Cup are allowed to handle the Gold Cup, and him, because he had to take it out of the box and put it on the plinth. Plinth. But he explained that only people who've won it, which was just absolutely amazing. And this Cheltenham Gold Cup's tiny. It's only about that big. And but on the front, it's a list of all the winners. And because Stan won in 1958, he's on the front. So it's in there, which was really absolutely incredible. So you reflect a bit, don't you, when you go to something like that? You reflect about life. You reflect about when it might be your turn. You reflect about people who you've lost. Do all of that stuff. And I found myself reflecting a little bit and thinking, what would I want to be remembered for? It's not about one defining thing, is it? It's about lots of things that come together to define you. I think that's the key. So my question is, what do you want to be remembered for? What type of person? It'd be lovely if somebody wrote something in the comments. I always like something in the comments. But if you could just write down, what do you want to be remembered for? You want to be known as a fun person, a kind person, the one who did this, the one who did that, whatever. What do you want to be remembered for? And then once you decide what it is, then maybe the trick is to say, okay, I'm going to do something definite this week to be remembered. So if you want to be remembered as a kind, generous person, What can you do this week that's kind and generous? If you want to be remembered as a person who lived life to the full, what are you going to do this week to live life to the full? There's my brother said, Andy Heps, the one who couldn't say no. That's true. That's very true. So I would probably at this moment, I'll have a look, see if any more comments come in a second, but I would like to say at this moment, to be remembered in such a way where everybody has a little story is probably the thing, isn't it? For me, that would be it. I would like everyone to have a little story about how I positively influenced their lives, because that was my goal when I started my business. I wanted to positively influence 1 million lives, and then once I got to that number, people were saying, "What's next? Is it going to be 10 million?" I said, "No, I just want to positively influence the life of everybody who I connect with." So I changed it. And I'm really pleased that I did change it to that, because it's just one by one thing every day. And it's being conscious of that. I guess that's the thing, just to be conscious of it. I wonder if I can bring this up here. There's a little new thing appeared over here called Shown Comments on Stage. Not quite sure how one does that. No, I'm unable to do that. Anyway, that's okay. So yeah, please let me know. I'll send you a little picture of me with the Cheltenham Gold Cup. I'll post that somewhere, wherever this stuff's going, and I will be back next week, where I will have been conscious about positively influencing people's lives. See you next Monday. Bye. I think I'm still alive. That was fun.